Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce webinar on how to guarantee your business gets funding. All right, we're going to start going live on Facebook, but I want to welcome our attendees. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. In a few moments, when we go live on Facebook, I want everybody to go on there, share it, start a watch party. We're going to get started at exactly 10:05. All right, I see the chat. Marla started off the chat. Good stuff. Let's get, everyone can use the chat function. Say hi to all of us. All right. All right, so we are about to go live on Facebook. All right, so we are live on Facebook. For those that are in attendance, you can go to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Facebook page, and you can share this link. This is going to be a very informative session. We have a few pillars in the business community here that have been providing funding for businesses for a number of years through county and state funding, I believe even federal funding, some have been able to receive. So it's a lot of expertise and a lot of knowledge here today. And we want to make sure that our business owners understand what they got to do from the very beginning of starting their business to ensure they're setting themselves up to get funding and take advantage of funding opportunities whenever they pop up. So we're going to get started in about 1 minute. Please use this time to spread the word, share, let people know that we are now live. Knowledge here today. All right. Oh, how do I share this? Okay. All right. So for our Zoom attendees, for those that are watching on Facebook, you can click the link to join us. We make sure that we take questions, and we will be able to get questions from people that are on Zoom. So if you want to get specialized understanding of this, click the link, join in on Zoom so that you can join the conversation. For those of us that are on Zoom, you want to use the chat function to make comments, and you can share resources in chat function with each other and with all of us. And if you have a question for the panel, you want to put the Q&A box. You want to put that within the Q&A box that should be at the bottom of your Zoom panel, where you will see mute, stop or start video, and all of those things, or raise your hand function. So just use the Q&A for all questions. And it's 10:05. So I want to welcome everyone to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce webinar series since COVID-19 started. We've transformed our technical assistance workshops that we used to do on a regular basis throughout the community to an online platform. And over the past few weeks, we have had quite a number of speakers to talk about COVID-19 business statistics, mental health strategies, how to move your business online, quite a few others. So if you're interested in any of those topics, make sure you check out the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce website, and there's a page on there where we have those recordings. Today is a very special workshop because we have some pillars in the business consultant community that are going to be here to join us. And I'm excited about today's presentation. So with that, I want to introduce our president, Mr. Eric Knowles, to welcome everyone and set the tone for today.
Well, Matthew, thank you. And thank you for pulling this together. I'm really excited about, as you said, the pillars that we have on today. Partners for Self-Employment, our good friend Maria Cotto, and all the work that she's been doing, providing financial support to many of our small businesses here in Miami-Dade County, throughout the county from Perrine and Goulds all the way up to Miami Gardens. And also having William Young here, who works with the infamous, my good friend Leroy Brown, I would call him Leroy Brown, Leroy Jones, he's gonna shoot me, but NANA, Neighbors and Neighborhoods Association, and Tools for Change, and the good work that they continue to do throughout the years. And then also thanking Jason Franklin for being here this morning with us. It's going to be a very informative meeting today, and thank you all for joining us. The Chamber is creating opportunities for economic and social transformation in our community, and we are here to support all businesses as we continue to move through this pandemic. A lot of people are feeling like they have been, I'm trying to think about how do I say this. Businesses are opening back up, but at the same time, Miami-Dade County is showing that we're having more cases of COVID-19. So we are in a place of uncertainty right now, but with that, again, I'm thankful for those organizations like Tools for Change and Partners for Self-Employment and the work that they continue to do even during this pandemic as we face the challenges that still are before us and ahead of us. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knowles. So we're going to jump right into this. As Mr. Knowles stated, we have some amazing individuals. This workshop is co-sponsored and partnered with a few organizations, including the Miami MBDA Center, the Business Consultant Center. Kanasha Paul represents that, and she'll be coming on. You want to say hi, Kanasha, because I know you're coming in at the end.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. And I think this is going to be a great and an impactful conversation.
Awesome. Awesome. Jason Faustin, who's an accountant, has been doing business consultant for quite a while. Marie Cotto, that have decades in this business, providing funding and services for people, and also Tools for Change. And we're going to start off with Tools for Change, Mr. William Young, who is the Director of Business Development and has been guiding businesses through this process on a number of funding opportunities. So, Mr. Young, you have the floor.
Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody is well and trying to stay safe. Now, with Tools for Change, we have different programs. What I'm going to do is just give a general description of our program, and then Maria will take over because she has a little slide program that she wants to go through. So Tools for Change has been around for a couple of years, and primarily we provide technical assistance to small businesses and loans. The loan part, the capital for small businesses is very important because they always say the reason why small businesses fail is because they don't have enough capital. And that's true in many instances, especially in the unserved areas. So what we try to do is we try to do an outreach to those areas to get those small businesses to get their documents in order, which is the basic thing. Because as Matthew mentioned, one of the basic things that business have to do is have your documentation. Because without documentation, you can't go anywhere to get loans or grants from the government or anything. And we find that a lot of businesses, they don't have that documentation. So one of the things that we do is we try to do our outreach to get to those small businesses to help them to get their paperwork in order. We have now, what's going on now, we have the forgivable loan, which is a response from the county because of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's a very popular program now. It's sort of changing as we go along. But we have other loan programs. We have the business builder loan programs, and we have our regular microloan program. That also has a loan forgivable component to it. So basically, my message to everyone is to make sure that you have your documentation in order, because we find that that's the highest impediment for the small businesses to access either funds, grants, or loans. And I wanted to make this short so we can get to Maria's slideshow.
So just a quick question. When you mention documentation, what exactly do you mean?
Well, you should, for instance, we have workshops where we talk about the business entity that you can use, what your business structure is. You can be a sole proprietorship, you can be a partnership, you can be a corporation or a LLC, which means that you have to register with the state of Florida. You should have a federal tax ID number. You should theoretically have what they call an LBT now, which is they used to call it an occupational license. It's a business tax receipt, and that gives you authority to operate in the city or the county. Those things are like basic that the business must have to operate correctly, and that's like the beginning things that you need to have if you're going to try to access loans or grants. Also, another thing that some businesses sort of forget about is that if at the end of the year they'll say, well, I didn't make any money, so I didn't file a tax return. Well, see, the IRS doesn't worry about whether or not you made money or not, it's whether or not you had activity. So they want you to file a tax return. And when you try to access funds, grants, or loans, that's one of the first things that the lender or the grantor is going to ask for. They're going to ask for your tax returns because they want to see what your history is in business.
Awesome, awesome. So just to review very quickly, what Mr. Young just laid out to us is the importance of having the basic documents in place, and that is LBT, the local business tax receipt that you can get from the county that you reside in, your taxes, and making sure you're filing taxes on time and have a history of your financials, making sure you have your articles in incorporation, you're registered on SunBiz. Those are many of the basic documents, and I know that Ms. Cotto will go into more detail with some of those things and also others. So with that, Maria, you want to give the PSC and tell us about PSC's process?
Of course. Thank you first for the invitation. I really enjoy being able to address a group of small businesses and help facilitate some information as they try to navigate, what funding might be available to them or how they can access what can be available. So I truly appreciate the opportunity. I thank Mr. Young for his for beginning this conversation. And with that said, I am going to jump into the slideshow presentation. So just to outline a little bit about how, my few minutes is going to go, I will go through just some information on PSC, our different loan programs. I will outline this forgivable loan program that both Tools for Change and Partners for Self-Employment is currently working on. We believe that this is an excellent solution for small businesses as they begin to reopen, simply because it is forgivable. So you're not taking on additional debt that you may not be able to service at this time. And then I'll just close off with showing the application itself, the process for applying, some of the requirements, some top, few things that businesses should be prepared to do that take like the longest amount of time in order to get, so that businesses can start doing that immediately. And then, of course, I'll be glad to take any questions.
Awesome.
All right, so too quickly. So just a little bit about Partners for Self-Employment. We are a community development financial institution. So we are not a bank, but we are regulated by the Treasury, as is Tools for Change. We're an SBA intermediary lender, which basically means we can lend SBA dollars and do. We are a Department of Health and Human Services individual development account partner. And then we also partner with local municipalities and counties to help them administrate their community development block grant funding, which is basically providing technical assistance and low-cost lending to small businesses within the communities that they serve. A little bit about what we've done. So Partners for Self-Employment is 27 years old, I believe, 27, 28 years old. I should know that, but off the top of my head, it's not coming to me. And we haven't always tracked this data. So this is relatively recent data. I'm a numbers cruncher, not everybody is, but I can tell you that since we've been tracking data, or this type of data, we've done about 28,000 job creations and retentions, and these are businesses that were able to start and hire somebody additional at an actual living wage. So that for us is a big accomplishment. We've provided about 134,000 hours of training and technical assistance, and that's individual and small group. Dispersed over 5,000 loans, totaling about $38 million, give or take a couple of dollars. So that's some of our recent accomplishments, and I think illustrate our commitment to the community that we serve. And this is all in Miami-Dade County, as a matter of fact. So when you look at these numbers in relation to the service area, these are numbers that we're very proud of. Kind of what we do. So regularly, right, in times of not natural disaster, or in times of not a medical emergency or a pandemic, kind of every day we provide training and technical assistance. It's professionally led training and technical assistance for people starting up or expanding their business. This training and technical assistance is designed to prepare businesses to not only receive our financing, but other mainstream financing. So all of this training is basically preparing small businesses to go to a bank eventually. We have peer loans, and these are no credit, no collateral loans that are given in a peer environment. So basically we've got peer groups of individuals who are at a similar stage in business, regardless of what type of business, and they learn together. So they learn to put their business plan together, their marketing plan, their financial plans. And as they're going through this process, they're able to access no credit, no collateral financing so that they can start to put their plan in place. So a lot of times businesses put together a business plan and then they don't have the money to execute. So you've really accomplished nothing if you can't put that business plan into effect. So we do provide that no credit, no collateral financing to do that. And then we do expansion loans. And these are expansion loans for businesses that are, of course, beyond the peer loan program, but aren't quite ready for mainstream financing yet. So we kind of come in and we provide that bridge loan so that they can continue to access financing without needing to go through peer training, but without having to qualify at a bank quite yet. And we do those loans up to $50,000. And while they're not credit or collateral based, credit and collateral is taken into account for those particular loans. But you can, if you've been a client of ours, there's some, it's a point system, and basically there's some easy ways to qualify for that financing. A little bit more about what we offer. As I mentioned, the peer program and the peer training. I think that's probably our largest program, our bread and butter. These are basically individuals who know that they want to start a small business, or have already been in business, right? The shade tree mechanics that have been doing business for years, just nobody knows that they're doing business, right? They don't really have financial records, and they don't have a business plan or a marketing plan, and they're legitimately doing business. They're just kind of doing it under the radar. That particular program takes individuals through the whole legitimizing their business process, and gets them started in creating what is, business credit. We've got the individually, professionally led individual and small group technical assistance. We've got, of course, our financing programs. We have referrals to banks. So one of the things that we pride ourselves on is never leaving our client out in the wind, if you will. So as clients become ready for mainstream financing, we've got banks that we work with where we can hand the client off, so that the client continues to get a personalized service from somebody who now knows them as an individual. So we're able to do that. And then we have what we call boot camps. And they're basically intensive professional development programs designed around understanding where your business is right now. Each business setting a series of short-term and long-term goals. And then the boot camp basically provides training and technical assistance through a 12 to 16 week process to get the business to where they can start, where they've met some of those goals and are working towards the others. So those are pretty intensive, lots of work on behalf of the business. It is competitive application process, and there is a Shark Tank type competition at the end of those boot camps where businesses can compete to win monies, but they also have access to loans as a result of those boot camps. And some of those boot camps are very specific. So we have a returning citizens boot camp for individuals who are recently returning after an incarceration. We've had boot camps around servicemen and women returning from active duty and wanting to start businesses. So these boot camps are pretty targeted. And they are competitive for joining, but we believe them to be good opportunities, of course. Kind of who we do this for. So we do this for small businesses in general, right? You name it, we've got at least one. We've got the small businesses that are just at idea stage. And we've got the small businesses that have already started out and need to expand. And then we've got the small businesses that have like let's use nice less water detailing, the gentleman with the extended bicycle in the picture down there below. So this is a gentleman who started his car wash business on this extended tricycle type device, and now has 8 vans and is doing car washing using very little water and mostly steam cleaning, and does high-end vehicles from this to that. So this is really our bread and butter. We want to help the individual who cannot get help somewhere else. So if you can't get chewing gum on credit, you're who we want to service. As I said, we do the low moderate income, definitely people who are credit and collateral challenged. We concentrate on minority communities and startup and expanding businesses. So with that said, I'm going to jump into what I think most people would be interested in today, which is this forgivable loan program, right? So I'll go through kind of the basics of that before I show you the application. So basically some things that you need to know. So these are written as loans. So they are forgivable loans, but they are written as loans. The loan amount is a maximum of $25,000. The way that this process works is you are approved a loan amount based on a calculation. So not everybody will receive $25,000. We are looking at how many jobs you're going to be retaining, because the main focus of this is to retain jobs, to keep positions filled at businesses, as well as looking at what your average expenses were prior to COVID. So loans will be given a maximum of $25,000. There will be no payments for 12 months. During that 12 months, you, of course, are being expected to retain the positions filled. They don't have to be the same employee, of course, but the position must remain filled for 12 months. This loan is originally written at 0% interest with no origination fees. If the business is able to retain those positions filled for 12 months after we do our final review, then this loan becomes forgivable. It converts to a grant. Your responsibility to us and our responsibility to you under this particular contract expires. If for any reason you are unable to keep those positions filled, then all or part of the loan turns into an actual loan that you'll be making payments on. That part that becomes unforgivable if you're unable to keep employees is again at 0% interest, and we work out a payment plan based on the dollar amount that you received at time of closing. A lot of people ask themselves, is this for me? Especially those individuals who've been unable to access other financing. So this has really been designed to help those individuals. So we're looking at businesses that have less than 25 employees, that need financial assistance to reopen. So they've been adversely affected by COVID, that are looking to keep their employees for 12 months, right? They don't have a short-term plan of closure or a short-term plan of reducing their work staff, their employee staff, and are not looking at necessarily closing, reducing staff, or reducing the number of hours. So they're not looking at taking full-time staff into part-time. They're looking at maintaining staff at its current capacity. If you got PPP, the official answer is this loan is not for you. However, there is a caveat. We have asked for, and both agencies have asked for and have received an opportunity to look at businesses on a case-by-case basis. So what we found is that certain businesses got very small amounts of PPP. In one particular instance, which I'm still can't get over, we had a business that got $36 in PPP. I mean, it's inappropriate to tell a business that only got $36 in PPP that you don't qualify for another program. So we are looking at businesses on an individual basis. If you were not open prior to March 2020, this program unfortunately is not for you. This is not for starting out. This is for reopening after COVID. And if you are listed or if your industry is listed as a nuisance type business, and this is a federal regulation, so adult entertainment, bars that don't serve food, those types of businesses are labeled nuisance businesses, and they would not be eligible under this federal programming. Another question that comes up quite often is, what can I use this funding for? So there's been other funding made available, federal funding that's been very specific around salaries. This is a little more flexible. So you can pay rent or mortgage payments as long as you have a verifiable lease or mortgage documents. You can pay back rent. We know that is definitely an issue, especially with the moratorium on evictions expiring in July. So you can do back and future rent or mortgage payments. You can buy personal protective equipment for your staff and or clients. You can use this for salaries, yours or any other permanent employee. So one of the things that we're finding as people are turning in these applications is not everybody understands the difference between an employee and a consultant. So if you are not taking out payroll taxes, basically that's the rule, right? If you're not taking out payroll taxes, they are not your employee. They are an independent consultant. You provide them a 1099 at the end of the year. You are not able to apply. You're not able to use them as employees that you will be retaining. However, if they have their own businesses, they're 1099, they've got all the appropriate registrations, they could apply for themselves and their businesses, and you can advise them of that. And then we other operating expenses such as insurances, licenses, utilities, things that are required to keep your business operational. The one thing that we are not able to fund that comes up quite often is inventory. So this is about, you know, being able to reopen, about maintaining your employees. And while we understand that inventory is necessary for the purposes of making money and opening, unfortunately, that's on the list of things we cannot fund. That includes, if you're a restaurant, food in order to cook and sell. If you're a store, any inventory that you might be purchasing, those types of things, unfortunately, are not allowable expenses under this particular program. Now, there are other programs that are available through Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, who's hosting us today, through Partners for Self-Employment, through Tools for Change, that you can stack. So nothing says that you can only apply for one program. The other programs may not be forgivable, but you can use a forgivable loan in order to finance your reopening, and a more conventional small business loan through one of the other participating agencies to assist with things like inventory. So I encourage you to take a look at those options. All right, and then just quickly the process, and this is PSC's process. So Mr. Young may come on at the end of this and walk you through their process. But kind of PSC's process is you're going to go on this website. You're going to download the application. So it's pscinc.org. You'll download the application. You'll complete the application. If you require any technical assistance, we are happy to provide that in helping you get your application complete. Simply send a request over to success@partnersforselfemployment.org. Complete and upload the application and all attachments to the website. So that's one way to apply. Another way to apply, we know that that not everybody's going to want to sit and scan all these extra documents and that sort of thing. If you want to turn in your application in person, we are accepting in-person applications Tuesdays from 10 to 4 at our office located at 3000 Biscayne Boulevard. And then finally, for closing and funding, because we are trying to keep this as touchless as possible, we will not be like handing out checks and doing closings in person. So you are required to have a business bank account because we need to be able to take the funds and move them to your bank account. This also facilitates us being able to do this rather quickly. So we are looking at funding rather quickly from the time of a completed loan application. And this is just a link to our main website. And Matthew, do we have a couple of minutes to go through the application itself?
Yes, definitely take a quick moment to show them the application so that people know about this particular program. And one of the important things about this particular program and all programs is that the basics of this application is usually the same documentation is needed for almost all other funding opportunities that are available. So yes, Ms. Cotto, if you can do that pretty quickly so we can get on to Jason.
Absolutely. So just 2 minutes. So you're going to go to this website. It's pscinc.org. This website is set up specifically for this application, so there's no confusion about, am I applying for the right thing? You're going to come here. I'm also going to scroll down and I'm going to show you this phone number, this 786 number. This is basically a hotline number to individuals that are specifically providing technical assistance on this application. So if you already know PSC in another capacity and have a different phone number for us, which would be our office phone number, don't use that one because we're probably not going to be here and we're not going to answer it. So use this one. You're going to come here, you're going to hit apply now. Again, the technical assistance, this is some information on who might be eligible uses of funding, all that jazz we just went through. So you're going to start your application now. this big blue thing in the middle here, you're just going to download this package. This is a list of all of the required attachments, and it looks like a lot, but I promise you, this is really, this is not as complicated as it looks. And we do have staff that's going to help you go through this. I talked a little bit earlier about sharing some top few things that are absolutely needed for anybody who's going to be looking at applying for financing, whether it be in this environment or not. This list is basically preparing you for that, right? So you've got to have things like your personal tax returns, your business tax returns. You've got to be, you have to have registered your business. You have to be a legal entity, whatever that means for your industry. You have to have your local business tax receipt. You have to have a DUNS number, so it's your Duns and Bradstreet number. And then if there's any licensing that's required for your specific industry, that's also a requirement. Under this particular loan program, if you had that licensing before COVID, but allowed it, or it expired because you just were not financially able to keep that license active, you can use these funds to reactivate those certifications or licenses. But for the most part, businesses are only going to be able to get funding if they have those licenses in place. So this is just a list of the attachments. And then the application itself is relatively self-explanatory. You're just going to fill this in. Please make sure that the information that you provide us on this application is the information that matches your state of Florida registration on SunBiz, your EIN registration, your DUNS number, and the information on your local business tax receipt. So we actually check all of this information, and we've got to do some searches. And if your local business tax receipt is for a construction company, and I saw that very recently, but your SunBiz registration says consulting, one thing says construction, and your tax return says something else, even though the owner is the same, it's got to all be for the same business, for the same time period. The addresses have to match, the names have to match. So take some time to get those types of housekeeping items in order before you apply for one of these, because you're just going to delay the process. We're of course asking for information on the owners, because should this business close down, the owners are being, when you sign a promissory note, the owners independently or individually guaranteeing this loan. So if your business were to shut down, you were not able to meet the requirements to make this a forgivable loan, this does become a loan. And if the business is closed, then of course the owner that signed on the promissory note becomes liable for this. We are going to ask you to outline your proposed use of funds. What are you going to use this money for? We're going to ask you, of course, for your banking information. Primary reason for that being, our need to be able to transfer monies. And then we ask for the basics of demographics. So tell us a little bit about you. How many people are in your household? Employee status, education levels, things like that, because that's information that we use in order to report back to the feds. This personal financial statement, which I promise you is a pain in the neck for everyone who sees it, and we can provide you some assistance on completing this. And then here is your employee roster, where you're basically outlining what employees you have. Understand that in addition to this roster, we're going to ask you for their last paycheck. So we're going to need to verify that these employees are actually your employees, and are actively working at your business, or will be actively back working once you reopen. So that's the application in a nutshell. You are able to fill this out, save it onto your computer, go back, upload it, and upload all of the attachments as well. There's individual spaces for each attachment upload. If you are, like I said, if you prefer not to upload all of this information, you're more than welcome to drop it off at our office any Tuesday between 10 and 4, as long as it's not a holiday.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Kodo. Those make sure you go to partnersforselfemployment.org to find out more. As you mentioned, as she mentioned, this is a program, and their catalog of programs help business owners from start to finish. If you have an idea, if you've been in business and you want to make it official, they can help you to do that, and also provide you with the capital to expand your opportunities. This forgivable loan program is one of the most amazing opportunities that they currently have available right now at this moment. Funds are limited, but once you get in and you do the work to submit an application for this, and they can help you, it can also give you the foundation to apply to other programs that are available. So I strongly encourage everyone to take full advantage of this program. And I want to turn it over to Jason, who's Mr. Faustin, who is an accountant and who can provide more understanding of the financial piece. Because as partners and business consultants who help businesses with putting together these applications, the biggest part, the most trouble that all of our businesses have outside of getting the basic documentation is the accounting and the financing, and having those habits in place in order to ensure they have a strong application. So I want to thank Jason for joining us today, provide that opportunity so we can make sure you guaranteed to make sure you set your business up to get funding. Jason, you have the floor, brother.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here this morning to share my knowledge with the community and the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce members. I am going to share my screen real quick. Give me a second. Please do let me know if the slide share is showing.
Yep, we got you.
Awesome. And I also want to make sure that it's moving, or you guys could see that it's moving.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. So, yeah, like Matthew said, to get your business the financing that it needs, or to even qualify for financing when it comes to banks, the SBA, even the previous PPP loan, well, not previous, but the PPP loan that's still going on right now, your business financials has to be in order, and your accounting, your records, your tax returns, everything has to be in order and up to date. So I'm going to give you guys some of the key basic things that you're going to need. Like you can do yourself at times to make sure that your business is always ready for when those times come around. So I have 5 key things that I will be talking about, and those are like essential and most of the time mandatory. You need to have up to date the bookkeeping or accounting records. I'll go over that more in details in a few seconds. Your business and personal accounts have to be separated. You need to keep your personal and business expenses separated.
Say that again, brother. One more time.
Yeah, I mean, so many times we've seen this, but you need to keep your personal and business expenses separated. And that is, we need to put an asterisk on that one. And you need to have up-to-date payroll. You need to have up-to-date payroll. And you need to have your tax filing responsibility. So you need to file your taxes on time. You also need to have your business and personal credits. I mean, I know most people may not understand the difference between business and personal credits, and we may not have enough time to go in very detailed explanation on that. But at least on your personal side, you need to have credit for most of those financing. Now let's talk a little bit about the accounting. So there are some basic key terms you need to understand as a small business owner. A lot of times, like you may not have the finances to afford an accountant on a monthly basis or quarterly basis, that can go ahead and do those things for you. But if you yourself, you understand some of those basic key terms, then at least you can start the process. And when you get with an accountant, you'll make it a whole lot easier for them to be able to guide you and to properly get your stuff in order. First of all, you need to understand what gross revenue is. Gross revenue is really just the total amount of income that you have coming in from the business. It's just that simple. Take every income stream that you have coming in, put them together, add them up. That's your total revenue before any expenses. You need to understand what's considered an expenses for your business, right? Going to Publix and end up buying some food or lunch or dinner, that is not a business expense, even though you may be at work, right? That is not a business expense. So you need to understand the difference between business expenses and personal expenses. Your assets. What are assets? You need to know what assets are. Assets are considered anything of value that the company holds, that the business owns. You could have personal assets as well, but business assets, and that's what we're talking about today. You need to understand what business assets are. Cash, that's an asset. That's called liquid asset. If you have inventory, those are assets, but those are not liquid. And you can have furnitures, or let's say the business owns a vehicle. Those are all assets, and you can use those as collateral. And banks or even the SBA, they like collateral when it comes to you asking for financing. So by having some collateral, it makes it a lot easier for you to get financing. And you need to understand your liabilities. Liabilities in this term means, who do you owe? Like, how many other businesses, people do you owe money to? All your debts, those are liabilities. The government, when it comes to taxes, have you paid your taxes on time? If you haven't paid your taxes, those are called liabilities. So anybody that you owe, that's called liabilities. Cash flow. You need to understand what cash flow is. Cash flow is pretty much the inflow and the outflow of money that's coming in the business for a certain period of time, right? So let's take, for example, a month. The total income that you have going out and what's coming in the business during that month is called the cash flow of the business. It's how the money flows in the business. And there are some financial key terms that you will need. So those are financial documents that you will need to provide to the bank or the SBA or the financial institutions that you're going for, that you're going to ask for financing from. You need to have your profit and loss statement, and you also need to understand what is your profit and loss statement. Some people call it P&L, some others call it income statement, but profit and loss statement, it's the most used term. So a profit and loss statement is basically what outlines where your money is coming from and where the money is going and how much profit do you have left. So the profit and loss statements is a sheet or a few sheets that list all your income streams, all your expenses, the different expenses that you have in the business, and what's left, which is your profit at the end of all of this. And your balance sheet. So a balance sheet is what most small businesses don't take the time to have, and they really don't have it. But a balance sheet is really what tells the bank what the business, like how does your business value, like it really holds the value of your business. If without a balance sheet, it's kind of like you have an empty house, right? So the balance sheet really tells the bank, this is all the assets that you have. This is all the liabilities that you have. And it shows now between those two whether your business is actually in cash flow positive mode, which means if your business is going in the right direction. So it helps them determine whether to give you the loan or not. So the cash flow statement, and now it's, again, we're going back to the cash flow. So cash flow statement is a statement that shows the bank the inflow and the outflow of the money that's coming in the business. So how is that money flowing? Are you spending based on your income, or are you just spending frivolously, or are you overspending, right? So it let the banks know how well you're managing your money when they give you that money. Are you responsible enough to know that you have to pay them back, right? Next, separate business and personal financing. Expenses. If you have your business and personal expenses going in out of the same account, it's hard to keep up clean accounting records. It's hard to keep up of what's being spent on the business and what's being spent on your personal end. In order to have the proper accounting record, it is recommended. It is the right thing to do as well. You have to have a business account and a personal account. From your business account, don't never spend money from your business account, your business bank cards. Don't use it for your personal expenses. And if you don't know if something is personal or business, I would rather you spend it out of your personal account. And if it comes down to, then you realize later on it is a business expense, then reimburse yourself from the business. And it also helps you with when it comes to taxes, because when you file your taxes, the IRS can always go back and ask you for your accounting records or for your bank statements. So when the IRS asks you for those things and they're seeing all those Publix, Walmart, Chipotle, or all these different food places that you've been to, and you're saying, well, that's business, but you can't tell them what was the reason for that, then automatically they'll tell you no. They'll reassign those as personal expenses, which means you have more money that you have to pay taxes on, and you have to pay a lot more taxes on that. And of course, there's penalties and interest when it comes with the IRS. And some banks, I'm not going to speak for all banks because I don't know all banks' criteria, but a lot of banks will deny you financing because to them, it shows you're responsible and you don't know how to manage your finances when you're commingling funds. When you have all your income and, not income, but all your expenses, whether it's personal and business, coming out of the same account, or if you have too many personal expenses coming out of your business account. Let's talk about payroll. Now, when it comes to payroll, there's a few things that that's not on the slideshow that I want to mention quickly. You need to understand what payroll is, what is done quarterly, monthly, or weekly, depends on your business. But for most businesses, it's monthly or quarterly. So depends on the type of business, the type of your business structure, which we'll go over in a little bit more detail later on. You may have to pay yourself, actually take out payroll for your employees, right? Once you have employees, you have to take out payroll regardless. Now, you have to pay them on time. Paying your employees on time makes you more valuable, makes the employees want to stay with you. Therefore, it helps your business grow. So if your business is growing, then therefore your accounting records and everything else will be in place, because then you can show the banks that you're able to pay them back the money that you're asking to borrow. I mean, we talk about paying your taxes on time. I mean, the IRS don't play. That's one of those few entities you want to mess with. The IRS do not play. So you want to pay them on time, and you want to file your taxes on time, because those penalties, when it comes to businesses, are not like those are not things to play with. Because the penalties are very high, and they charge you much different than the personal. And you can avoid those penalties by making sure you file your payroll taxes, you make those payroll tax payments on time. And also, like we said, it helps you keep your accounting records clean and maintain proper record, I should say. So you want to have up-to-date tax records. You want to file your taxes on time. So many times I've seen clients come to me, small businesses that come to me and say, what should I bring you to get my taxes filed? And it's like maybe 2 days before the deadline. For most businesses, the filing deadline is April 15th. And for others, like partnership and S corporations, it's March 15th. And for this year, because of COVID-19, the tax deadline has been extended for every business, like regardless of your structure, to July 15th. So even for personal and businesses, July 15th is the deadline. So you still have about a little bit less than a month to get those situated. So it helps the bank or the financing company determines the ownership of the business. So when your taxes are up to date, when you file your taxes on time, it helps the bank determine who owns these businesses, and they need to have them. They will not give you financing if you cannot give them tax returns. And it also helps them determine the proper business structure. So what I mean by business structure, you have sole proprietor, partnership, S corporation, and C corporation. So you see I didn't mention LLC, right? LLC is, well, to the IRS, is not considered a business structure. It is only recognized from the state perspective. An LLC could be a S corporation, a partnership, a C corporation, a sole proprietor. It just depends on your needs as the business owner. So I would say get with a professional to determine what is the best structure for you. And then it helps you avoid penalties. I mean, we go over that again because there are so many fees and so many penalties, and those penalties are not little. The IRS do not play. And it helps the bank underwriters makes decision easier. Like it helps them makes those very quick decisions, because if you're asking for financing, you want it as soon as possible. So in order for them to give you those financing as quickly as possible, your tax records has to be filed properly. Now, the next one is business and personal credit. Remember, like for personal credits, I would say it helps you get the lowest interest rate. So the banks always want you to have personal credit, but once your business has established credit as well, then it helps you now. And let's say if your personal credit is not so strong, it helps you on the personal side. I mean, it helps you on the personal credit side as well to get those very low rate. And it helps the bank determine also how credit worthiness are you, which means, are you responsible enough for them to give you the money that you're asking? And it helps them determine like how high of a credit limit they should give you. I also want to add there are different types of loans and credit lines and credit cards that you can get as long as you maintain the proper credit. I know my time is over, so guys, this is my contact information. So if you guys, if you need any help, please reach out and I'll be here to answer any questions. Thank you, Matthew.
All right, thank you. Keep that screen shared for now. I want to take some time to move into questions. So for those that are on Zoom, you can raise your hand. You can put a question in the Q&A box for any questions. I just want to take a moment because Jason actually, and while people raise their hands and put questions up, Jason mentioned quite a few things that I think is very, very important for business owners to keep in mind, especially when it comes to understanding the key terms of your finances. Especially when you're starting a business, a lot of us do not have the bandwidth and the resources to get an accountant. So there's some basic accounting terms that you have to understand. If you can't pay somebody to do it, you have to do it. And you have to be aware also of what your accountant is doing too. So understanding the profit and loss statement, the cash flow, your gross revenue and expenses is important. And you'll be amazed at how many business owners do not. I've worked with business owners who we go through their finances. They didn't even know they had a 6-figure business, or they were being paid. They were taking out so much money. And those things can really turn a business on its head, and it can stop a business from actually growing, and most importantly, for accessing capital that you need in order to move forward. So I see Marla has her hand up. Marla, if you unmute your mic, you can speak. All right, so I don't see Marla. And Linda, you can unmute your mic if you want to speak.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey there. So, as the owner of the business, I do my taxes and pay myself through a Schedule K-1 and give myself, the dividends. Is that sufficient in order to apply for this financing?
Maria, you want to take that on, Maria or William?
So it is sufficient to apply for the forgivable loan program, as long as any other employees are you're able to prove any other employees as employees. If you're just going to apply as one employee of the business, then that's
Yes.
understanding that that the dollar amount that you'd be able to apply for is lower than the 25.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Marla.
Good morning. So my question is I have an LLC. It's incorporated. It's registered in Delaware, where I'm from. I've been a resident of Florida for about 5 years. So I want to start my business here. I've gone through all the SBA, the classes and everything in Delaware. But this is a good information and new information for me to register here in Florida. My question is so far as my taxes are concerned, since the business has, I have not been doing business, do I need, I'm thinking, where do I actually need to start? Probably getting the necessary documentation here in Florida, kind of crawling before I walk. So I just kind of need a little bit of clarity as to where should I start? State level, federal level, getting an accountant, getting a consultant, where am I?
Okay. So one of the first questions, and either one want to jump in. First thing you need to do, you got to register on Sunbiz.
Right.
So you go to Sunbiz website. That's a Florida Department of Businesses Registry. I forgot exactly which one. I go to their website so much. But yeah, just go to Sunbiz. You can look it up. online, and that's where you want to register first. And then you want to go and move on to the getting a local business tax receipt
Okay.
for the county and city in which you reside.
All right.
And if you want to make sure that all your documents align, you will also open up a bank account with an address located in the county that you want to operate and maybe get funding from.
Okay.
And then from there, you can start to search for accountants who can help you with other details that you may have. But those are some of the most basic steps that you can take over. After you do those things, you can apply to get your EIN number updated with your new address.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That there. But having the SunBiz, the occupational license, the business bank account will help you in that process to ensure that you can transfer your EIN number. And once those basic areas are in play, you can go on and everything else falls into place after that.
Sounds.
So want to add on to that?
Can I add something?
Go ahead.
So she mentioned that she's incorporated in Delaware. So to do business in the state of Florida, she doesn't really need to re-register, like re-incorporate in Florida, but she need at least what's called a fictitious name, like a DBA. So in order to do business in Florida, like your business will be considered what's called a foreign business. So you come to Florida and you incorporate as a DBA, which means you doing business as in Florida. And with that, then there's a lot of things that you don't have to redo. Right?
Okay.
So such as opening a new bank account. If you already had one, you don't have to open a new bank account. Such as getting a new EIN, you don't have to do that. Such as what other things that he could be missing. So I'm just trying to think up top of my head. And then from a tax perspective, I want to ask you though, did you continue to file taxes, like your federal taxes for those classes?
Okay, great question. Well, I did not, and the reason why I did not, number one, we're not doing business. There wasn't any revenue generated from the company, and we're going at what I need to do in Delaware is what's called a revival. I have to pay about $1,500 to the corporation, the state of Delaware, in order to get the company revived, they call it. If I'm sure you guys know what I mean.
Understand.
I've been here in Florida for 5 years, living for 5 years. And so moving back and forth from North Florida to Broward in order to garner partnerships. We're all set and ready to go. So now it's worth me going back to pay that tax, get the company back in good standings with the state so that we can now move forward.
Okay, now that you mentioned the $1,500, I mean, it will really be up to you and just what makes sense. But to start in Florida, you know, unless you really want that company to stay in Delaware, that $1,500 you can avoid unless Delaware asks you to you have to pay it, right? Unless they say you have to pay it, I would say start fresh in Florida.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of end this by saying this. There are certain protections in Delaware. I'm from Delaware. I have the reputation of doing the business in Delaware. And so I don't mind starting from there. And like you said, I don't have to have another EIN number. And it just seems like a better business practice if I don't just skip out and be owing that money. Now you guys can kind of chime in on that if you want.
And just the last point I do want to make for the programs that we conduct, Tools for Change, Partners for Self-Employment, Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, businesses have to be registered in Miami-Dade County.
Right, exactly.
Take advantage of that. So you would have to make sure that your business is registered in Miami-Dade County for that. So thank you very much, Marla. We have a question from Natasha. Basically, if you have a home-based business, do you need a local business tax receipt? That answer is yes.
Yes.
So I thought I saw a hand up, but I think she dropped out. Okay. All right. All right. So we don't have any other question. I'm looking on Facebook and don't see anything. Then I guess we can wrap.
Matthew,
Oh, who's
hi, Linda Harris. One more
Linda?
quick question.
Yes.
Do you anticipate the funds running out? Is it until it's all gone, or will it be replenished, the pot of money?
Mr. Young, you want to take a first shot at that?
You have to unmute himself.
Yeah, you gotta unmute yourself, Mr. Young. All right, while you figure.
Okay, hello, I'm back. Now, can you repeat the question for me?
Yes, sir. My question was, is this a limited amount of money, first come, first serve? And when it's gone, or will the pot of money be replenished? Should you encourage everyone to rush in there?
Well, the short answer to your question would be yes. It's first come, first serve. We're going to try to eventually allocate per district. So we're trying to work through that process. And there is a finite amount, and we're not sure if they're going to replenish the fund after these monies are gone. But it is first come, first serve. So if you're going to apply, you need to hurry.
Thank you.
Maria, you have anything to add to that?
No, just in fact, we would encourage people to get their applications in, even if they're not sure that their applications are complete. We part of our goals as agencies is to provide technical assistance. So get in as much as you can, and let us help you through the rest of the process.
Awesome. All right, Ms. Tracy Bruce.
Yes, I have two questions. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My first question is if you're for Jason, if you're hiring somebody that is out of state, they're working remotely for you, is there different payroll requirements if your company is located in Florida, Miami, Florida?
So that will depends on how much control you have over that employee. So I mean, the IRS has some very detailed guideline on that. So the first step you have to determine is how much, what the specifics of the work that they have to do, and then you have to look at their schedule. Do you make their schedule, or do they have the flexibility to determine their own schedule? So with that, then you could determine whether it's payroll or whether they're just a subcontractor. And
no, it's an actual they're on the payroll.
Okay.
So I make their hours. They're actually on the payroll, not an independent contractor.
So if they're a payroll, then you're gonna have to the taxes based on the state they're in.
Okay.
Not just in Florida.
Okay. And my next question is that do you, I know that PPP, anybody who received the PPP loan won't be eligible to qualify for this new loan or grant. Is there any opportunity in the future that might change? Do you see any opportunity in the future or potential?
So, so that rule is not hard and fast at this point. So we've asked for and received an exception from the county that allows us to look at individual cases. So we would look at how much PPP you got, for which time frame you got it, has it expired, and would these federal funds be used in addition to or simultaneously to the PPP. So, I mean, there's a wide variety of things that we'd have to look at. If you are interested in applying for this, I would encourage you to contact either one of the agencies so that we can better discuss your individual situation.
Okay.
As far as how many employees, how much you got, what you applied for, when did that expire, have you completed all the requirements to make it forgivable, et cetera. And then we can coach you through, how you can proceed.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. It looks like that is all the questions that we have at the moment. I want to thank everybody for asking questions and engaging. Are there any last words from anyone? I guess we'll start off with Maria.
Sure. The only thing that I would say is encourage everyone who is actively in business prior to having to shut down for COVID to consider this as an opportunity to apply and to allow us to help you through the process. And the other thing that I would, and I did put a question in the chat, and can help us with the answer to that question. But one of the things that we are having the most problem with is businesses having their financial records. There are some softwares available out there that you can enter your business finance information into, and those softwares will help you produce things like profit and loss statements, balance sheets, etc. I did put some of those in the chat, but maybe Jason can help us with some more information on that.
All right. Mr. Young?
So I would just like to echo what Maria said, that don't apply as soon as you can. Get whatever documentation that you have and apply, because we can help you through the process to get the other things that you need. So don't let the list of documents that you have to bring in be a negative for you, because it's not really that much. So we want you to apply, and then we work with you after you apply. But the biggest thing to do is to start the process, and that's to apply.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Jason?
Yes, Maria asked about the different softwares that you could use. One of the probably the most used one is QuickBooks Online, and then because they have different versions, self-employed, essentials, and so forth. And they're not that expensive. They also offer free classes, and we offer classes on that, and you could use Zero. Zero is another one. And I've heard of Wave, I think it is. I'm not too familiar with Wave, but there's a bunch of other ones that you can use. And I also wanted to let everybody that hasn't applied for the PPP, the Paycheck Protection program, I don't know why I would say plus, the Paycheck Protection Program, to go ahead and apply right now, because June 30th is the deadline. So if you haven't applied, if you haven't received any funds, there's still money available. It's not gone yet. Go ahead, apply. And the EIDL as well has reopened for every businesses. So if you need funds, you can apply for both. So, and if you need help, just contact someone, get with me, or anyone that's close to you that understand the process. In the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, I'm sure they have a lot of people that you can connect with. Get with them. They'll guide you through that process. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jason. And this program was a partnership of Tools for Change, represented by Mr. Young, Partners for Self-Employment, represented by Maria Cotto, and also the MBDA Center, represented by Kanasha Paul. I want to give a few moments for Kanasha Paul to let us know about the MBDA and also all the opportunities, because she also brought in Jason, who works very closely with the MBDA as one of their business advisors. So Kanasha.
Hello, everyone. Thank you guys so much to all the speakers, the chamber, for putting on this worthwhile partnership. Is really important for all of us to come together to provide this information. So I'm going to be brief. I know that we saw a lot of information that covers this process, and I know that for a lot of business owners, it can seem so daunting. It can be so challenging. But I promise you that once you get this part of it done, on the other horizon is so many opportunities. And so for the Minority Business Development Agency, for those who are not aware of it, we're a federal agency under the U.S. Commerce, and we are tasked with helping minority businesses get access to procurement opportunities. We're also to help streamline their business. So when you get funding, after you go through this process of setting up your systems, working with an accountant, financials, the biggest question that I see with clients, because we tend to work with clients who are scaling up, that working with major government entities, federal, state, and local, working with corporations, that now they're trying to figure out, once they get this funding, how should I spend it, and how do I make smart decisions with that funding that I've just acquired in order to generate revenue. Because right now we talked a lot about even just setting up the systems, getting the funding, but we want to make sure that you feel comfortable after getting this funding, that you're doing it right, that you're spending it in a way that it is going to show favorably to other investors. It's going to show favorably to the business community. And honestly, you guys have to remember that you started a business because not only for it to change your life, but business owners are the driving force into the American economy and creating jobs and getting our community back on its feet. And we know, for as a Black community, this is so integral for us. So I really want, I know for this, it's a long session, but I really hope that you guys definitely review everything, really look over the information that's provided. I'm going to drop a link for those who want to get more information. We're also overseen by the Florida State Minority Supplier Development Council. And so we mentioned that if you are going to apply for the Miami-Dade Forgivable Loan, you can purchase PPP equipment. The FESMDC launched a PPP portal that has business owners that sell PPP equipment. So that's a resource that we can provide as well. Once you do get the funding and you want to be able to figure out what opportunities are out there, there are bids. There's business still going on. Government is still purchasing. Corporations are still purchasing. So we don't want lack of capacity, lack of funding to be the reason that you don't seek these opportunities. And so I hope that going with these partners, working closely with them, you'll be able to set up a meeting with me to get you to the next step.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ms. Paul. And I want to echo that what we do as these institutions, we're basically building the capacity of businesses throughout our communities. That is our job, that is our purpose, and that is what we're here today to do. We've been doing for a number of years. So I want everybody to continue to make sure you connect with PSC, make sure you connect with Tools for Change, make sure you connect with the MBDA Center, and also the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. We are a platform, we are a member organization. I know President will go into that a little more as we close out. But we have a technical assistance program. What makes ours unique, we give one-on-one business consultation free of charge to Miami-Dade County businesses. So we help you in those cash flow projections, help you understanding your finances, putting together loan applications, business planning, and also getting the certifications that you need in order to operate your business in Miami-Dade County and getting those government contracts. That is our specialty. We also have a loan program that's been before COVID-19, continues after COVID-19. We actually dropped the interest rate, cut it in half at 4%, and it's 2 tiers. So if you need access to capital, this is a program that we continuously run. The basis of it is job creation, because we want to make sure that businesses have access to capital. So make sure you reach out to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, because these are the programs that we have available, and we're always here to assist you in your business growth. So with that, I want to thank the panel. I want to thank everybody that come here today who joined us on Zoom and through Facebook, and I'll turn it over to our president, Eric Knowles, to close us out.
Matthew, thank you once again. And obviously, it's so important that you listen to the advice that was given today, not just listen, but act on it. Having the back of your house is so important. So many of us are experts in what it is that we do, but we need to bring those experts in that can help us manage our businesses, from the CPAs, the accountants, to marketing, etc. So thank you all, Maria, Mr. Williams, Jason, Kanasha, for the information that you have brought today. Jason did mention the EIDL that is coming back out. It is back out. So if you didn't apply for EIDL prior to now, please get on that right away, and as well as the PPP. Actually, the PPP has been extended beyond June 30th to apply, but please do get on that if you haven't applied for PPP as well. As Matthew said, we are a membership organization. We appreciate your support. We appreciate our members. Please consider becoming a member of the Chamber. Our mission is to create opportunities for economic and social transformation in our community. With that, we have been meeting with our members every day up until June. We started meeting with our members on June every Tuesday and Friday. So if you're available, come on tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Basically just sharing information, providing updated information as we get it, providing these technical assistance workshops. We'll be talking to the SBA once again with Althea Harris, who continues to bring us great information about, now that you have PPP, what do you need to do in order to manage that process? So once again, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you, and we appreciate the work that you continue to do as a small business owner.
All right, thank you very much, and everyone have a great day. This webinar will be on the website and also on the Miami-Dade Chamber Facebook page. You can look at previous webinars if you go to www.m-dcc.org. With that, everyone have a great day, and make sure we increase our businesses so we can hire our community and lay an economic foundation to build upon for all of us and all of our families. So thank all the partners involved in doing this. We really appreciate your assistance. You take care.